Greetings, race fans, and welcome to Multi-21's Group 3 100 Season 7 event, featuring a lot of fast guys at Spa-Francorchamps. Hope you're all having a great day. Here we are inside of Justin's car, waiting for the start of the race. And as usual, our friend Belfast has picked up first prize for pole position. So as we wait for the race to get underway while folks are doing tires and taking their last little trips to the bathroom, let's go ahead and bring up the right calendar here. Let's see. I'll try to bring up the event calendar here for you just a second. We had it up here a moment ago. Don't know what's happened to it. There it is. All right. There we go. So as you can see in week 5, it's Spa-Francorchamps, 4¼ mile course. One of the longer ones on the calendar. As a matter of fact, is the longest one on our calendar. Distance is 102 miles. There will be 24 laps. According to this, the race will be run in the evening, so I believe that the weather you're seeing right now is dusk. The weather's going to be clear. Time factor is 30x, so we'll probably be racing through the night if that thing is what I think it is. Let's switch over to our race leader. I should say our pole sitter. Looks like we have a couple of new folks in here. Someone calls himself D East. How you doing, D East? Welcome to the track. Looks like D East is not taking any guff. Or heck, maybe he's taking a lot of guff. Here's Ivan, waiting in the pits. Ivan is in his spearmint gum Corvette livery today. And fourth position, we've got Marky in his Ferrari 458 with his Titleist livery. Beautiful thing. Worked very hard on it. Got Phil in P5 in the Mercedes AMG. Just chilling on track with his lights flashing. Sherlock in P6 in the Mustang Gr.3. And King Racer has started this season off in the Peugeot RCZ. So well done, mate. Adam Vine has switched from his Bug last season to the Porsche. And Keith Firewoodman is also in the RCZ, if I am seeing this correctly. And Justin is in the Jag. So Justin drives a Jag. All right, folks, the race is about to start. Qualifying is over. And Justin is about ready to make this race happen. And yes, Belfast car is just too quick in the Viper. That thing is really fast in a straight line. I don't know who D East is, but Mr. D East has posted a very respectable time given the competition he's run up against. Being just a little over 4/10 off is quite a feat. All right, with just seconds to go. Yeah, ready to watch the lights go out. Ready, grabbing, ready, roll. It's on. Oh, false start by D East. Lights are out and away we go. We'll see if he gets penalized. In all likelihood, he will. So that puts D East on the hind foot. Belfast Bap is in the lead, followed by Ivan. He's able to make his way around D East and Phil. Come down straight into Eau Rouge. Down to Radial. Ivan is right on his pipes, followed closely by Phil. Ivan gets the slipstream. Tries to make his way around, just not quick enough to pass that Viper. Ivan's going to have to wait his next turn. Might be able to get him on the back straight. So we have Belfast, Ivan, and Phil. Just about nose to tail, just barely a car length separates each one. Belfast goes a little bit wide. Keeps it in the zone. No penalty so far. And look at Phil coming up on Ivan. Phil got a great exit out of that last turn. Oh my goodness. Oh, these three guys really bringing it. All three have been different cars. All three very powerful. Powerful V8s. And two of them, I'm proud to say, are American models. Thank you very much. As he shines his fingernails. In fourth position's a Mustang, just saying. And Phil is trying to find a way to creep in on Ivan. Probably just trying to give him the dummy there, give him something to think about. Still, that AMG is quick. The Vet's no slouch either, but that AMG is just a skosh more powerful on the straights. Not a bad handling car either, as Phil is aptly demonstrating. Phil's trying a little bit of the over-under, it looked like, but no. Decides that it's just a little too tight there at the source. But right on his bumper. Just pushing on his numbers. And Ivan having to defend so viciously against Phil has given Belfast a really nice opening to widen the gap ever so much more. Phil's still struggling to find a way around Ivan. You'll find this is probably not the best place to pursue an overtake. So he's just biding his time. He knows the straight's coming up. If he can stay in the slip. Oh, and he goes wide. He hits the AstroTurf. That is not going to work well for him. That puts him way back. Oh, that's a shame, Phil. Had a great run going there, buddy. There's Sheer Luck in fourth. Seems to be all out by himself. Put up a little bit more information here so we all know what's going on. Ready? So Sheer Luck with a 5-second gap to Phil and about a 2-second gap to D East. Pretty comfortably in fourth position right now. D East has about a 1.5 seconds on either end of his car. But Adam is closing ever so slightly. Love his Sonic the Hedgehog livery. Well done, Adam. And Sergio has about a 1-second gap on either end. Fire Woodman at his rear. Fire Woodman is still trying to close it up a little bit so he can get in that slip. If he can keep it, he will pick up the slipstream, perhaps coming out of the bus stop. A little hard on the brakes goes Fire Woodman, but gets a decent exit. So now he is within a second. And Marky, who I assume is taking a pit stop, she usually does, likes to take an early pit stop, is there in 9th position. And Justin is there in 10th with about a 7-second gap behind Mark. Meanwhile, Belfast is just pulling away. 4-second lead and growing. Fight between Ivan and Phil is no more. There's now a 2-second gap there. So that little mistake there, coming around the sharp curve, getting into the AstroTurf really cost our buddy Phil. Belfast lays down the quickest lap at 2:16.8. It's a respectable lap on any day. Ivan's dropped to 2:19.3. Phil's dropped to 2:20.0, so they're still pretty close. 7/10 gap coming, no doubt, from that little mishap that he had coming around the corner. Too wide. Phil's dropped to 2:20.2. D East has dropped to 2:19.3, which I believe is going to match Ivan's almost perfectly. So D East 3 came to play. And Adams dropped to 2:20.4. So Adams driving fast. Sergio's dropped to 2:24. He's lagging just a little bit. Sergio, King Racer, is on the hard tires. So naturally he's going to be going a little slower at this track. Whereas Fire Woodman is on mediums. So this is his chance with a little bit of sticky glue on the track to make up some space on Sergio. Markey is rocking the soft tires with about maybe an eighth worn. Justin's running on the hards. So Justin is biding his time. He'll make his way through. And probably just looking to use those softs later on in the race to make up that gap. Meanwhile, Belfast is just about to pull out 5 seconds away from Ivan. Belfast is on softs too. They're about a third down. His tire wear is very even. All 4 tires are looking pretty much the same. So he's managing the tires in that Viper beautifully. As is Ivan in the Corvette. As is Phil in the AMG Mercedes. The Sherlock is rocking mediums, whereas D East is rocking soft tires. D East is starting to perhaps make up the gap there. He's at 1.1. On those soft tires, he's still got plenty of life left in those boys. If he can make those things behave and make that GTR behave, he should be able to make up that gap. Unless Sherlock just, finds another level. Oh, we had a nice little glitch there. And Sherlock's car magically appeared directly in front of D East car. It's always fun sim racing. For such a variety of reasons. D's trying to be the king of the late breakers. And manages to pick up a good chunk of time. Narrows that gap significantly. Now it's just 4/10 behind Sherlock going into Radillon. Looks like Sherlock had a bit of a mishap on the Kemmel Straight, unless that is another glitch, but it really, he just went wide. So Sherlock may have to give up that position. Sherlock being on the medium tires, he's just kind of on a different strategy. You may want to be thinking about relinquishing that spot, because his tires are going to last significantly longer. So he gave it up, but not easily. And he is glitching crazy back there. That could be having some effect on his race. Certainly having an effect on D East's race. That can get awfully confusing. So Sherlock now is nearly a second ball. Meanwhile, Adam Vine is a 2.5 second hit. Both he and Sherlock are running the mediums, so they're on the same tire strategy at least at the moment. Vine's tires are just a touch fresher. As Sherlock serves his time in the penalty box. Which, of course, gives Viney the opportunity to pick up a little bit of space. So he has picked up about a car length, maybe 2 car lengths, on Sherlock, who also goes wide. Sherlock's having a bit of a time here, getting himself sorted. And that's given Adam a great boost. If he can take him down the straight after the source and stay in his slip, this could get real interesting. But interestingly, he did not pick up any time. He actually got a poor exit out of the hairpin. And Sherlock just has way too much straight line speed. Oh, and he gets in a slide and around he goes. He manages to save the car. He doesn't spin it, but now he's trying to get back on the track safely, and that just lets Vine and Marky B zip right past. So, yeah, Sherlock was never able to get it sorted out after that penalty and that little mishap that he had. Though it is difficult to say how much of a mishap it was given the lagging. So that gains Mark a position. And he is neatly tucked into 6th, with a good bit of space between himself and Sherlock and Vine. Adam, meanwhile, is now pursuing Phil, with about 3 seconds to go. Where Phil is trying to find his way to D-East bumpers. Phil's racing soft tires probably only going to give him a couple more laps. Best. And while D-East tires are doing a little bit better, he's still going to come in and replace them. Just to make sure he has enough speed to get through the middle of the race and enough rubber. Ivan's on the softs. His tires are wearing out nice and evenly. They're just a little bit past half gone. Belfast tires are faring significantly worse than Ivan's. Ivan has been taking good care of his rubber. And that may be contributing to him closing that gap. The gap is now about half of what it was 4 or 5 laps ago. Belfast had about 5 seconds lead on Ivan, and that is down to 2.2. 2.3 at the moment. And there's Ivan just chewing up the track in that Wrigley Spearmint Gum livery. To all you dads out there, you're very welcome. That god-awful dad joke. Neatly around that left-hander, tidily through the S's. Doesn't even clip the apex. And still manages to find speed. That vet is just a rocking car. And now within 2 seconds of Belfast, who can easily notice Ivan in his rearview mirror. Ivan, if you'll flash your lights on the straight here, I want to see if we can find you in Belfast rearview mirrors. And he goes into the pits. So Belfast is done, and Ivan is done on those tires as well. So fuel-wise, neither one of them's looking too great. Not too bad. I mean, they're a little bit past a quarter of a tank. Go. But given the tires and the fuel situation, it's probably wise to do both. Meanwhile, here comes Adam Vine, staying on track. A little bit less than half his rubber gone. He figures, what the heck, I might as well leave the race for a while. Gets to the hairpin nicely enough. And guns it down the front straight. Into Eau Rouge. Round Radillon. Just misses clipping the corner. Takes a lot of curb on the way through. But not so much as he's going to draw a penalty. So on the Kemmel straight he goes with a 5-second lead. Courtesy of the triple pit stop. Markey stays out. Mark is on the soft tires, although he changed those a little bit later into the race. So he has plenty of good rubber left. Sherlock is still on track with his mediums. Now Belfast is back. Currently in fourth on the medium tires, but ostensibly in the lead. Expectedly in the lead. The boys up front are going to have to be coming in soon. Probably within 4 or 5 laps. At least one of them. Yeah, it's a little wide coming out. Excuse me while I drink coffee. That was my coffee cup dropping down, sorry. I was too lazy to mute. So Sherlock with a big gap. Mark. Mark with 2 big gaps before and behind. And Vine has a 4.5 second lead on everybody. So King Racer has dropped to the back of the field. Just put on his medium tires. And he's sitting on his outlap. Justin's still on his racing hards, not even halfway gone. Front's wearing much more quickly than the rears. And the oversteer of that vehicle he's in. Bill has damage. The front left quarter. Interesting. Let me see. My keyboard will work. Because I'm going to attempt to run a replay. And it is not going to do it. Sometimes the keyboard gods are fickle on PlayStation. So it is what it is. Let's change the view to race. View. It's Justin in the Jag livery. He's now in 6th position. Some of the other drivers go through the pits. D East takes a little bit wide, but he's moving quick. Got a couple of 219s on his medium rubber. And Ivan, meanwhile, has pulled back to a 4.5 second gap at Belfast. He's on the medium tire. He's definitely not on the slowest. This is Belfast. He's on the medium. Look, Ivan is grinding off a little bit more rubber than Belfast is at the moment. Ivan trying to make up some space. Meanwhile, Adam's tires are only about half gone, but his fuel is very light indeed. So Adam's going to be coming in on this next go around if he's watching his fuel gauge. And he may be slowing down a little bit to save fuel. It's kind of hard to say. 124 miles an hour versus 37. So he may have just enough to get him to the pits. Let's hope so. He's running a real good race thus far. Alrighty. Okay, Mark's in and out of the pits real quick. And looks like he's coming out on hard tires, so he has met his tire requirement, more than likely. East is still rocking medium tires. Good load of fuel. And Belfast back in the lead as expected, with a near 5-second gap on Ivan. Ivan with 15 seconds on D East. D East all out there by himself. As is Mark with about 8 and 9 seconds on either end of his car. Phil with about 9.5 seconds from Mark. 3.3 on Adam Vine. Adam Vine, though, does have Shearluck on his tail. So Shearluck obviously still smarting from those little unforced errors. Looks to be wanting to come back with a vengeance. And meanwhile, Tire Woodman in the RCZ is sitting out by himself in space on the track. 6.5 seconds in the front, 14 in the rear. Eraser, huge gap between his car and the other two. Justin, 19-second gap, and 1.25 minutes to go to catch Belfast. Now Belfast is widening his lead. The Jag may not be leading the race, but the Jag sounds like it's leading the race. What a beautiful noise. I've never heard an actual Jaguar purr. Imagine it sounds something like that. So good news, replay is working. Uh-oh. And it froze. My apologies. May have to reset this. Oh dear. Yes, I believe I'm going to have to reset. Well, it was worth a shot, wasn't it? Alright, let's get back in and spectate. Oh dear. Yeah, looks like it might have been worse than I thought. Disconnect the keyboard. See if that helps. It did not. So. Exit. And let's find our way back into the race again. Well, we tried, but keyboards and PlayStation 5 are just not that friendly with one another. I do apologize. Sorry about the gap in the race. Hopefully we can get right back to it. There we are. Apologies, race fans. Here we are on the spearmint livery again. Ivan put Jack Link's beef jerky signs on his car just for good measure to let us all know how very American it is indeed. And boy, Belfast says be on edge, and he wasn't even joking. That's exactly what he was, right on the edge. Absolutely screaming down the chemistry. Belfast is now at the rear on his soft, so he must have taken a pit stop to get his tire requirement out of the way. So that puts him in last position. And he is in danger of getting blue flagged out of the way. What is going on here? It's madness. Belfast not in the lead? What's next? Cats and dogs living together in harmony? God. It's a crazy, crazy world. He does seem to be struggling. Don't see any damage anywhere on his car. It's almost as if something's happened to his controller. I hope that's not the case. I hope his wheel's okay. Nothing less fun than a wheel failure when you're in the middle of a race. Lots of tires screeching. So Ivan is in the lead. Not by much. D East. Yeah, that's interesting. We have a lot of movement here. None of it really making any sense. Almost looking like a replay. Oh my god, it is a replay. Something has definitely gone extraordinarily hinky here. All right, that looks a little bit more realistic. All right, 14 and 18 second gap on both sides of the Guff car. Hallelujah, I think we are actually halfway through the race. D's just set a purple sector. You'll just have to see what I'm seeing to understand just how very confusing this is. I'm going to pull down the top overlay. You see that lap number? We are definitely not on lap number 1. Now you look at Ivan's number, and he's on lap 13. So folks, let this be a lesson to you. Never plug a PC keyboard into a PlayStation. As Ivan takes a purple sector. And Markey has Phil on his tail. I apologize. I thought Mark was driving the Ferrari, but it looks like he is. Is that a Porsche? I can't hardly tell. Let's see. Not close enough to it to see. Unfortunately, the screen that I'm looking at is very, very small. So it looks like it might be an RCZ. As Phil makes the pass, and he'll get him in the bus stop. There's no way that Mark's going to play that game. And into the pits he goes. So off goes the Merc into fourth position, all by himself. Mark's in to get tires and fuel. And Viney is just going down the pit straight. And will take Mark's position away, as does Fire Woodman. So now that everything is sorted out technically, once again we have Belfast in the lead by 1.6. Ivan in second position, D East in third, Bill P4, Viney P5 with a 14, almost 15, now 15 second gap to Bill. Marky's out of the pits. Justin just roaring out of Eau Rouge down the Kemmel Straight. Trying to keep that car steady on the controller. It's hard not to have nervous hands when you're going this fast. Yeah, nice and tidy through that sharp section of fast turns. And Belfast now the lead that's inside of a second. Does not go through Radillon cleanly. Loses some pace, and that puts Ivan in a slipstream, which he's taking slight advantage of. See how late he can get on the brakes. And it's just to pick up a few tenths that probably aren't going to last through this section. Ivan's on this racing soft tires. Worn about halfway through. He's used a little bit more than half of his fuel load. He has significantly more fuel than Belfast does. Both are running on softs at the moment. Belfast is definitely lower on fuel, which could play to Ivan's advantage in the pits. If he can keep close, depending on how quickly these things fill up in the pits, he could get that second back. See if we have any races within the race. And it would appear that we are all up front. Justin has picked up a small penalty. So Belfast with about a 1.3 second lead. Don't expect him to come in for at least another lap, potentially two. It does appear, though, that Ivan's Corvette is getting far better fuel economy, whether it's his driving or just the car itself. I would put it down to it probably being Ivan's driving. He knows how to save fuel. And he knows this Corvette really well. He knows what he can and can't do in it. So Doesn't clip the corners at Radion. He stays off the right-hand curb, passes through the center of the left-hander. It's good pace coming down the straight. Not quite as good as Belfast was able to get, but does manage a purple sector. And D East has set the fastest lap with a 2:19.0. Well done. D East, I don't know you, but you're clearly a quick driver. So, yeah, welcome to the team. And Belfast lead, growing ever slightly. If Ivan isn't able to make up that gap and get himself a little bit closer, he will get no advantage in the pits. So he needs to step it up just a wee. But Belfast is having none of it. He has found his pace. Plus, he is running a lighter car as he sets the purple sector. He was having some moments in there a little while ago, but he seems to have settled down. Ivan is finding some pace here on the back stretch. And has managed to close that gap by about half a second. Both of them staying out. Belfast, no doubt, wanting to press that weight advantage. Because right now he is running a very light car. All of his fuel gauges are flashing red right now. But he is full throttle, foot to the floor. He is not saving fuel that I can see. We don't have insight into the fuel mapping, so there's no telling if he's got it on a fuel map, Gr.3 or something like that. But he seems to be giving it full beans. He's 160 miles an hour down the straight. And Ivan is just touching 160. So not quite as quick on the long straightaways. But the vet's very good in the corners. Ever so slightly better than the Viper. Gets a little loose as he takes this big downhill corner. He has definitely lost the pace. His 1.1 second gap is now up to a 2.3 second gap and growing. I think it must be tires. He's not saving fuel at this point. That would be pointless. But yeah, his tires have gone off. So he was pressing very hard and was definitely being very hard on his rubber. And that seems to be costing him at the moment. But fear not, Ivan. You're really good down this rear side of the track. So let's see if you can bring it together down here. A pretty decent exit out of that next to last corner, but this one here he seems to have lost a little bit of pace. Let's see if he has to lift any. No, he didn't have to lift. And I think it looks like the Viper had to lift a little bit going through that turn. And that has cost. And there he goes. Both of them coming in. So Ivan has probably a couple more liters of fuel. Yeah, he has 11 versus 0. And yeah, Belfast rode that thing until it was dry. So this should give him an advantage on the fill-up. Will it be 1.6 seconds worth of advantage? Or, yeah, 1.6 seconds? I have my doubts. We shall see. Meanwhile, we've got Phil coming around to the bus stop. Let's go to the race out of the pits. Who gets out first? My money's on Ivan. Is he going to get out far enough where he can come out ahead of Belfast? And Belfast does not take a full load. Neither does Ivan. So Belfast was looking at that, saying, I've got to take just enough to get me through this last little bit of the race. And Ivan took just a little bit more, and it cost him. Now that could be Ivan making sure that he can give it the full beans on the last 6 laps. So both come out on racing hards. Ivan with more fuel. They both have more than a half a tank. And King Racer goes into the pits. Dives in to get off those hard tires, and he is out of gas, so let's go to Markey. He's comfortably in 7th position. Sherlock is in P6. Sets a purple sector by 9 thousandths. Well, let's see if he can make that stick. So on lap 18, Belfast in the lead, albeit only by 8 tenths, 9 tenths. Ivan comes out a little bit weak, but picks it up and is able to get a decent exit out of that last half of the corner, and now sits in his slipstream. So Belfast is pulling him along, and as you can see, that time is dropping. That gap is getting narrower and narrower. As they come into the bus stop, late on the brakes, about the 75-meter mark, and just gives it the beans out of the bus stop. But Belfast that much quicker. So get into La Source. Ivan's still not able to exit that corner with anywhere close to the speed that Belfast is. And we've got a blue flag, so it looks like we're coming up on possibly on Justin's Jag. And Belfast just pulls away. So no more slipstream advantage for Ivan. And Ivan picks up a penalty through Radion for his trouble, so that is not going to bode well for him getting a victory here today, unless something happens with Belfast's car. Belfast is a very sharp driver. Doesn't make many mistakes, so Ivan has a lot resting on a goof, and Justin gets out of the way. Thank you, Justin. So through the long downhill sector, the Viper is just gaining time, gaining speed. Will be interesting to see who gains an advantage around this long sweeper. It looks like nobody really. It's stayed about the same. Coming through the S's, the Viper will lose a little bit on the track here, as it always does. It's a little bit less of a handling car than the Vet. So Ivan picks up about 4 tenths, which will immediately be erased by the penalty he's about to take. Excuse me, has taken. I didn't see him pass the markers, but Ivan goes into the sin bin. He should lose at least a full second before he gets into the bus stop. And he has. Pretty close to a full second. As we go through La Source, Belfast pulls away, maintains his gap. He's not overcooking the car through the corners at the moment, since he has a pretty strong lead. Ivan, on the other hand, is pushing. He is pushing hard on those hard tires. Very little wear, very little tire work that we do with the drivers. D East is now on hards. He is comfortably in third position, screaming through Radion. It's nice to see that the GTR is not the only car that can make its way through the field in GT7 anymore. At one time, that was about the only car you ever saw on the track. And it's nice to see the game mixing it up a little bit, giving others a chance to make the way through the field. As Belfast continues to pull away. Halfway through lap 20 of 24. Belfast in P1 with a 2.7 second lead. Ivan in P2. D East in P3 with a very large gap to go to P2. Bill P4 with big gaps on either end. And Marky B rounds out the top 5. Is there a race within a race? Would not appear to be the case. As Belfast gets through the bus stop chicane, a comfortable nearly 3-second lead. At this point, Ivan's not even going to be able to smell his exhaust with the window down. The penalty was very, very costly. He's going to have to hope for some kind of error from Belfast. And if there's one liable to happen, this is a good spot for it to occur, but it does not. He gets through cleanly. Ivan may be looking at another penalty. Looks like he has skated by. He didn't cross that inner white line, so he's safe. And posted the purple sector. Well done, Ivan. If you don't get the win, perhaps you'll get the fastest lap. If you do get the fastest lap, it's going to be rather impressive given that you were racing on hard tires. Huge gaps between the cars now. Several seconds. Let's have a look at liveries. Looking at these enormous gaps between the cars. Belfast is going for very much a racing livery here. Oh, that's nice. Those decided to go with white this season. Great striping on that car. I like the Guff. I wonder why he's chosen Guff rather than the actual oil company. Doesn't matter. Great looking livery. Classic. Always loved the blue and orange. Meanwhile, Ivan is in the Wrigley Spearmint Gum livery. Ivan very proudly creates his own livery. He spends hours on them. He's gone with the chrome paint to simulate the foil wrapper of the Wrigley Spearmint Gum pack. So, well done there. He's also managed to incorporate the Multi-21 symbol. I should say it's letters just underneath the spearmint arrows. So, nice bit of decal craft, gotta say. Belfast with the racing livery, got the B on the side for B and H. kind of a, looks like almost a juggalo livery on the front, if you will. So get busy, Ivan. Looks like somebody is competing with you in that territory. Here we have Justin with his 7 livery, the Doctor Who companion. Firewood Man advertising West Country Firewood. Where my great grandmother hails from. King Racer's got an interesting livery. It's interesting with the spots. Not quite leopard spots. It looks like decals form cracks, spaces between the black and white. Monster Energy symbol on the front. Gone with the green for the Multi-21 racing community. Name. Nicely done. Sheer luck. Simple but classic green and white. Stang. And Marquee in the Titleist. And the McLaren. I always get the McLarens and the Ferraris mixed up if I can't see the rear. It's got the lines and not the dots. So McLaren it is. And Adams Team Sonic Classic Hedgehog livery. Beautifully done. All right, let's see if Ivan's managed to close the gap. He has not. We're approaching a 5-second lead for our Belfast and getting longer. Phil takes a very tiny line around the source. Executed that, I want to say, perfectly. That gets a little bit loose there. Adam's on racing softs, which are not quite half gone, so don't know the reason for that little tail slap, other than he might have gotten a little bit too frisky on the throttle. It does get through Radion. Nice and tidy. Next to Sheer Luck and Stang. Well, he's getting a little wobbly now. Sheer Luck also on the soft tires. They're well heated in and not at all too worn. It's Purple Sector. There's King Racer. RCZ. Cool livery. As Markey has dropped to 8th. McLaren. Firewood Man at 9th in the RCZ. JJ is giving way to faster cars. Thank you, JJ. And Belfast now has a 5.1-second lead as he comes into the final lap. Ready to get on the straight so he can slap his hands together and say a little prayer. Belfast might not get through Radion without a mishap. Got a great chance of that. You can always hope. And truth of the matter is, he handles Radion beautifully. As does Ivan. It's a little wide on the exit. It still looks real good. Loses just a touch of time. But Ivan, being the realist that he is, he knows that Belfast is just too fast on most days. He is unlikely to catch him as we are. As we all are. Oh, on our final lap, we'll pay attention to our leader. Let's do an in-car drive. Let's see what he looks like behind the netting. We can get a helmet livery on him. Let's see. You can't really catch his helmet too well here. Very cool livery nonetheless. As Belfast comes to the final series of S's, stretches that lead between himself and Ivan, and glides through the last few turns, slams them on for the bus stop, avoids the curve so as not to spin out the car, takes it nice and easy, crosses the line with 6.2 seconds to go. So congratulations to Belfast on his win. Congratulations to Ivan on his P2. Nice flash of the lights. Thanks, Ivan. Here comes D East. Through the bus stop. Gets a little slippy. Holds on to it. Lots and lots of tire noise. But manages to shake his way into P3. So there are your podium finishers, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see where Phil is in P4. Phil's coming through the last series of sweepers. Car looking very stable indeed. Slams on the anchors. Lights up the brakes. Very cleanly gets to the finish line in P4. Followed by Adam Vine in a not too distant fifth. Gives us a nice little wave and a flash of the lights. Well done, Adam. Followed by Sherlock in the Yank Tank, P6. And King Racer in the RCZ in P7. And Markey in the Titleist McLaren comes through the last sweepers into the bus stop. Clips the apexes, lights up the brakes, and very smoothly finds himself in P8. And a nice little slide just for fun. Thank you for adding that. Just ever so slight touch of entertainment. Well done indeed. Firewood Man through the last of the bus stop. Gives a little shake. Gets through cleanly enough and comes in P9. So congratulations, Belfast. A well-earned victory indeed. Pole position, clean race, and the victory. Belfast BAP wins the trifecta. Well done indeed. Great race, fellas. Hope everybody on the stream enjoyed it as much as I did. Y'all, thanks for joining Multi-21 stream. Hope everybody has a great rest of your week, short as it may be. Y'all have a good day, good night.